My name's Tessa Blanchard, and you're watching Top Rope Reality.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Top Rope Reality. I am Justin Carter, and what? No Mike Hogan, ladies and gentlemen. He is on location, and we will be talking to him very soon. We want to get started with INDY News, everybody's favorite, besides the countdowns, INDY News. This week at the NXT television tapings, we had an INDY women's wrestler, Leva Bates. She worked the tapings, losing to Carmella. It's rumored it was only a dark match, but they're saying that they are expecting to bring her back and that WWE will give her another look for a possible future deal. So that's good news for that INDY women's wrestler. I have not personally seen anything from her, so it'll be interesting to see if she gets onto the NXT tapings. Also, Jim Ross has been denying that he's having talks with New Japan Pro Wrestling about a commentary role. And apparently this is correct, but it's being reported that he is talking with Global Force Wrestling about a possible working relationship. To put two and two together, he'd still be working with New Japan Wrestling because, ladies and gentlemen, New Japan Wrestling and Global Force are putting on a pay-per-view from the Tokyo Dome in, I believe, January. So guess what? They're still working together. So Jim Ross is kind of saying the truth and kind of reading between the lines on things. Also, in kind of a controversial move, Rey Mysterio was backstage at the Lucha Underground TV tapings. Mysterio is still under contract with the WWE, and for most currently employed superstars, that would likely be a violation of company policy. That said, relations between the two are strained at best, and the last report we had said that they had no communication from either side for months. So it sounds like to me Rey Mysterio is trying to get booted out by being a bad employee. Well, more news on WrestleCade coming at the end of November. It'll be Friday, November the 28th. They're going to have a Jim Cornette roast. That'll be quite interesting. And it's being hosted by Shane Helms. They're going to have different roasters like the Rock and Roll Express. They're going to have Sunny there. Hopefully she doesn't act like she's having a medical problem. And Dr. Tom Pritchard and Sweet Stan Lane. Hadn't heard about him for a very long time. Also penciled in officially as one of the matches for the WrestleCade event is Amazing Kong, used to be known as Karma in the WWE, taking on Lady Tappa, who had a lackluster time in TNA. So that is two huge women battling it out. That will be quite an event. So if you're going to WrestleCade, you're in for a great match there. Also, Culture Shock Wrestling's next event will be their last one for the year until they start back up in January. And it will be headlined with Brian Cage challenging the new champion. Yes, no spoilers here. They already announced it on Facebook. If you had Culture Shock Wrestling on your Facebook, you already saw it. Apparently the new champion is now Lucha LaCour. He beat Chris Ty, so we're going to see that. Also, at that last event that they had, apparently a man who wasn't even scheduled to be in the Viral Championship matchup, it was originally Victor Cruz challenging the champion Chris Bracken. Somehow Suicidal Soldier got in there, and now Suicidal Soldier is the new Viral Champion. Very interesting. And of course, our new weekly thing from rfvideo.com. Check it out. This is the pick of the week for us. Teddy Long's shoot interview. It's one of the new releases. If you grew up watching NWA, WCW, and the WWE, you will certainly enjoy the insight of Teddy Long. Holla, holla, holla. Alright, so also coming up pretty soon for New Heights event, we want to remind you that they'll looks like there's going to be a bit of a casket match. It's going to be between Ryan Ocean and the champion Mike Basin. And that's going to be quite interesting, to say the least, if they're going to put that in a casket match. It is the day after Halloween, so it will make sense. So, also, if you're going to the event and you have children, don't forget, let your children dress up in their Halloween costumes, and they get in for free. And there's going to have live entertainment there with music, and they're going to have candy, and they're going to have all kinds of different things for the kids. So don't forget about that event at New Heights Wrestling, and we'll keep you updated, and we'll have it on our Facebook page as well with all the dates, all the matches that we come up with that we find out about before time. But speaking of New Heights Wrestling, we're going to have an interview at the end of this segment with Paul Jordane, who has been a huge instrumental person in the life of New Heights Wrestling. And right now he's not with New Heights. He's in, I believe, Philadelphia. So right now he's kind of busy up there, and he's not with New Heights. But we will be having an interview at the end of this segment with him when we were at the Brad Armstrong Memorial Show. Quite a good interview, and I hope you enjoy listening to that. So, you know what? I think it's time that we hear, after you listen to the Paul Jordane interview, I'm going to send it right on over to Mike Hogan, who's on location, and he's going to have part 2 for us with the WWE news. So, we'll be right back with that information. And don't forget, listen to Paul Jordane's interview. This has been Justin Carter for Top Rope. Here we are doing some interviews, and we are here with Paul Jordane. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And first question is, when did you start watching wrestling?
When did I start watching wrestling? It's pretty much the same answer you get from everyone else. When I was a really young child. I can't really give you an age because I don't remember exactly how old I was. But I was really, really young, and I remember seeing Hulk Hogan, and then thinking that he was invincible. And then when the Ultimate Warrior beat him, I remember thinking that the Ultimate Warrior was invincible. And then that held true until I was about 11 or 12, and then I saw WCW Nitro, and stayed on from then on.
Very nice. Who was your favorite wrestler growing up?
A lot.
A lot of them?
Yeah, from Stone Cold Steve Austin at a certain point to Eddie Guerrero in WCW because I love the Frog Splash. Man, who else? I mean, when I was really young, I really liked Hulk Hogan. But then as I got older, I really liked Ric Flair. But if I had to narrow it down to one, probably Stone Cold.
Okay.
Stone Cold. I love Stone Cold.
And how many years have you actively been wrestling?
Well, what's the year?
What is the year now? 2014?
2014. Okay, about 9 years, approximately, yeah.
And
Straight out of high school.
Who trained you to wrestle?
I've been trained all over the place, but I didn't really learn that much until I got into FCW, which is the WWE's developmental. And I learned from Dr. Tom Pritchard, Norman Smiley, Dusty Rhodes, Steve Kern, Ricky Steamboat was there. A lot of different guys. That was where I did most of my real hardcore learning. But other than that, it's been just out of experience.
We know you've been with FCW and NXT.
I've done NXT, some extra talent stuff for them.
Okay. So what's your experience been backstage and how they perceive you?
Good. Everybody's cool. I don't really know. I wouldn't really know what they're thinking or anything like that. They basically just have you come in, you do what they want you to do, and then, thank you. Just as long as I don't mess up.
Right.
So I knew I didn't mess up. So that's all I got from that, really.
All right. So who would your dream opponent be?
My dream opponent, as in, who would I like to work well with, or who would I want to beat up?
Either one.
Because there's a few. Who could I work well with? No, I'll just say who I'd beat up. I like to beat up HBK. I'd like to beat up The Undertaker. Probably beat up Brock Lesnar. Triple H. Any of them. I'd love to just beat them up.
All right. And when your career is over, what would you want your legacy to be?
My legacy? I don't know. That's up to everyone else.
Okay.
All I can do really is do my best and try to perform at the highest level and beat the hell out of everybody. But what my legacy, what I would like it to be, I would like it to be remembered as a nice guy. Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. and a couple of word associations for you. One is
Okay.
Ric Flair.
The greatest.
Okay. And Randy Orton.
Calculated.
Okay. And Daniel Bryan.
Could be the greatest. I don't know. I really like. I like his stuff back before he even got into WWE though. So I just love. His style, the just really strong, hardcore, like not hardcore, but hard style, hard hitting style is that's what I really like.
Okay.
So that's just a personal preference.
Okay. All right. Well, this has been our interview with Paul Jordane. Well, thank you for joining us.
Hey, thank you for having me.